please stand?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, creator of all things, we just come to you this afternoon, Lord. We just thank you for all the many days you've given us here on this earth, Lord. We thank you for the many blessings that you've given each of these souls here. I just pray that you would be with our decisions, help us to make the right ones. Lord, I just pray that you would be with those in our nation today that need your assistance and guide and direct them in Jesus' name. Amen.
We have roll call, please.
Jack Baker,
Here.
Tara Callan Watts,
Ani.
Joel England,
Here.
Bill John Baker,
Here.
Harley Buzzard, Julia Coates,
Here.
Bradley Cobb, Joe Crittenden,
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk, here, Meredith Fraley, here, Janelle Fulbright,
Here.
Don Garvin, Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Here.
Tina Gloria Jordan,
Present.
Curtis Snell,
Here.
Chris Stokes,
Here.
David Thornton. We have a quorum.
Thank you. We have the minutes of the May 29th regular session and the May 29th subcommittee.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on both of them? So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Actually, I would like, excuse me, yes.
Mr.
Speaker
Baker,
Free.
I might make a motion to amend the agenda to include before reports a presentation from some of the visitors that we have here, and I think you're more in tune as to what the presentation is going to be. But I would move to amend the agenda to include their presentation before reports.
Second.
Okay. It's been made second. Any
Well,
dis-
a friendly amendment to, well, I say that, were you wanting to do the cultural change, amend for that? I would,
No.
Same as yours, Mr. Baker?
No.
so could I add that as a friendly amendment to
Yes, I accept.
that line for that?
But the line for this is not on the agenda. It's going to have to be part of the regular budget mod.
Well, I was asking to make it an agenda item,
Okay.
then we could add it to the mod.
Okay. As item
5.3,
3?
yeah.
Okay.
Or, no, could we make it 1A or 1B?
Before you went to reports also, before the reports?
We could do that.
Well, no, I'm asking.
Well, I'm just saying, as long as we get it before the budget, comprehensive budget, it doesn't matter on that.
Okay. So the motion is to move item 1
Up
up front before the reports, and then add a third item, which is the Tribal Youth Cultural Exchange Program, as item 1B. And is that to be before the reports also?
Doesn't have to be.
Okay. Then it will be in the regular new business section. Okay. Is everyone clear? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Yeah, we're happy to have several guests today. I'd like to introduce Guy Monroe, who's chairman of the Kaw Nation, and Dan Jones, council member and former chair of the Ponca Nation. We have Don Patterson, president of the Tonkawa Nation, and Jim Shreen, who's vice president of the Tonkawa Nation. And we have John Shotton, who's chairman of the Odo, Missouri, and Ross Cheney, who's the Odo, Missouri Development Authority director, and who's a good Cherokee also. Okay, good. So the first item will be the Council of Confederated Chilocco Tribes presentation and possible funding request. And John, do I recognize you on this, or Councilman Jones? Okay.
OCO. But we have one other member of our confederacy, the president of the Pawnee Nation, who unfortunately, George Howe, who is chairman, who couldn't be with us today, but he is with us in spirit. We come on behalf of the old Chilocco Indian School, and the connection between Chilocco and the Cherokee Nation cannot be denied. Your people were the second largest number of graduates from that school in its 100-year history. You also had the honor of certainly, don't have to remind you, but something that we take a lot of pride in is, from other tribes is the Medal of Honor recipient, Jack Montgomery, who went to war from Chilocco Indian School. Chilocco is certainly a unique piece of property of any lands in the United States. It's the only common ground to so many tribes, literally hundreds of tribes, from Alaska, the Seminoles in Florida. If you bring up Chilocco, they're going to know what you're talking about. Leaders across the country are either graduates, or their folks had been there, or their grandparents. So last June, when we were in Anchorage, we met many tribal leaders from the Inuit people, the far north above the Arctic Circle. And when we said Chilocco, a big smile crossed their face. Chilocco was indeed a very unique place, as you can see. The campus proper is 165 acres. It's a large facility, vacant today. There's some 90 structures there. It's surrounded by 5,000 acres that are owned by the 5 tribes who are represented here today. The Cherokee Nation owns another 5,000 acres that surrounds that. Uniquely, it sits on the Oklahoma-Kansas border. The history of Chilocco is undeniable. From its ancient people who lived there at Ferdinandina, from the ancient mound builders, whose village now sits on the Tonkawa Nation's people, to a small stone structure just off of the campus on the Cherokee territory, where Jesse James and Belle Starr spent a winter after robbing the Coffeyville Bank. Chilocco's pretty unique. It's got its problems. You see it there with its lake. It's a small city indeed. It was one of 5 boarding schools established by the United States government in 1880. Its purpose was to assimilate American Indians into the mainstream culture. Chilocco is unique that each of these original 5, Haskell, Carlisle, Simcoe, they were given to different religious groups at the time to administrate them. Chilocco was fortunate enough that Quakers ran it, and they were very strict people, strong, but very decent people. So many of the graduates of Chilocco had really shared a unique experience from going to Chilocco that many other Indian schools we hear the horror stories from. So Chilocco has strong alumni today. There's a strong spirit of Chilocco that's there, it's alive, and it's well today. Chilocco, of the 5 original boarding schools in America, is actually the last available boarding school that's owned by American Indians. It's probably the last place for American Indian tribes to make a very powerful statement, a statement that I'll get into here in a minute. It's the only place common to so many tribes of American Indians that's centrally located, dead center in the United States of America. So well centered and so well participated by American Indian tribes that last June at the National Congress of the American Indians, they passed by a resolution that if there was ever one place in the United States that would be owned by American Indians, that would be the perfect location for a national cultural center, Chilocco would be that place. When I say that, we can come to the Cherokee as easily as we can come to the Navajo, and when we say we're here about Chilocco, we're welcomed. And that's what I'm talking about. It's common ground to tribes that have little in common. So many tribes, so much of a message. You know, we have the new National Museum of the American Indian, something I was fortunate to work on its funding campaign when that dream started. And Congress, in its wisdom, said that it's the only museum of the 19 Smithsonians that had to raise its own money because Congress, in its infinite wisdom, said that it could. So therefore they did. And I was on the first fundraising campaign on that. But, you know, for as much as they've done for tribes and as much as they've done, you know, for us, my people, the Ponca, it's still owned by the United States, not owned by Indians. We're looking at a place of the Shalako, maybe, you know, into the future, but a place where we can preserve, pursue culture, American Indian education, and American Indian government. You know, a place where we can hold those things, the very things that the United States government in 1880 originally established to take away from. We build a symbol of a place to protect and to ever keep our culture strong and safe. What a statement. Not many nations in the world make that powerful of a statement. So, the 5 tribes they've realized that Shalako really belongs to hundreds of tribes throughout America. Throughout our history of working with Shalako, we've had to develop a method of separating our politics from the management of Shalako itself. And I've come here to tell you we've been able to do that. We have developed what is called the Shalako Benefit Association. Right now, of the tribes that have agreed to sit on, none of the 5 tribes have membership on the Shalako Benefit Association. We have Dr. Baker, who's the president of the Shalako alumni, sits on that board. Mitchell Cypress, the chairman of the Florida Seminole, has agreed to sit on the board. And the enforcement that they carry over the organization that they hold in the management of Shalako is the strings to the purse. So, the 5 tribes are not developing as fast as Shalako is decaying. We are developing and we're doing well. But the old school is in need of some help. The Seminole have made us an offer. We developed a plan and a budget. And with $4.2 million, we can stabilize the campus. We can hire a development company that would start long-term plans for this educational, cultural complex I was talking about. And we can start a capital campaign for fundraising. So in talking with the Seminole Nation agreed. They said, we won't fund your whole 4.2 budget, but here's what we'll do. If you'll break that down to a 1.5-year budget, or a 1-year budget, I should say, we will go and we'll get a loan of $1.3 million to get this capital fundraising campaign off the ground. We'll stand behind that loan, and from your fundraising efforts, if you'll pay that back, if you can find one other tribe that will join us. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're here today. I would like to call on some of the other leadership of the tribes. Dawn, do you have something you would like to say?
Again, I'm Don Patterson, and I'm the president of the Tonkawa tribe, one of the co-owners in the Shalako, or former Shalako school property. I was also one of the tribal persons who negotiated with your tribe back in the early 80s with the General Services Administration to convey that property to our tribes. And so I guess I could say, in the words of my good friend, the late Browning Pipestem, I'm probably one of the few dinosaurs who remained from that era. I was also a student at Shalako in those days, and And as Jones was talking, I was reflecting upon some of my classmates, and several Cherokees come to mind. Buffalo White Killer, Ida McElhaney, Melba Crittenden, and Catherine Mitchell, and some others. Maybe some of those names might ring a bell with many of you. We are here primarily in solidarity with the Ponca tribe and the rest of our coalition of 5 tribes in that particular region who have undertaken this endeavor to do this thing with Chilocco. And so I just came along primarily to lend support from our tribe, and likewise that you might know too that we're in this together. We have a great stake together, all of us. We just met, as a matter of fact, just last week with representatives from your tribe again in respect to some of the oil, gas, mineral resource exploration that is ongoing as well. And so we have a long history with your tribe, not only as co-owners in the school, classmates, but even in these contemporary endeavors that we're all involved in. And so I just wanted to say that much here. Glad to be here, visit your facility. It's changed somewhat since I was here last, but again, it's my pleasure to be here and to affirm and continue to add my support to what Mr. Jones has mentioned earlier. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, President Patterson. We're honored to have you with us today.
Chairman of the Hotel Missouri Tribe, John Shaw.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, committee. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to stand before you and taking time out of your busy agenda to put us first and to allow us a little time here to express our ideas, our plans, our endeavors to you and your committee. You might notice I'm a little younger than some of my counterparts in the Confederation here, but I am honored to work with these gentlemen and their staffs, because many of my family, my relatives, extended family from the Oto Missouri people were blessed to be able to go to Chilocco Indian School. And if you haven't visited the campus, you haven't been to the area, it's a beautiful historic place. Since I've been elected chairman, I've had the great honor of working with Mr. Jones, Mr. Patterson, and Mr. Guy Monroe, and our president from the Pawnee Nation, Mr. or George, as I call him. But it's been my pleasure to work with these gentlemen and see the tremendous progress we've made over a couple of years working as a group. We don't take this endeavor lightly. We witness daily the deterioration of these beautiful buildings and the importance that they hold, not only to the American Indian community, but the state of Oklahoma and the region. So we've spent a tremendous amount of time on behalf of our tribes, but all Indian people, as was said earlier, trying to find ways, raising our own capital, our own resources to preserve this beautiful place and the history that goes along with it. So with that, I just want to echo the words of Mr. Jones and his eloquent speaking abilities and the history behind Chilocco, and let you know that as the Oto Missouri tribe is putting our resources, our time, and our endeavors into saving this beautiful place. And we appreciate you taking the time to allow us to visit with you, and maybe you can assist us in our endeavors in the future. But most importantly, we thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf onto your council. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Shaw.
Chairman, Kaw Nation, Guy Monroe.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chairman Monroe from the Kaw Nation, and I'm the instigator of this whole thing, so if it fails, it's my fault. When I got elected in 2002, we had a series of things happening, and I was the young buck, as you might say, and as we went along, they're all gone and I'm here. So after our election stuff, in 2004 or 5 when we started this. And we was looking at some things that need to be happening, and we've been working on this diligently for about 2 years. And I thank you all for your time, and we're all in it together. And I am one that's, I've never went to Chilocco. I didn't have no family that went to Chilocco, but I'm for it. And our calls we had a few calls to go there, but we're for it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chairman. I might add, it was my honor the first Saturday of this month to be at Chilocco with many of the alumni of Chilocco, and I had never been on the side of the campus. I'd gone by on the highway about a mile away and saw the buildings, but there's some beautiful buildings there, but they are falling into bad disrepair.
They are. Well, it's certainly a pleasure that you've had us here to honor your customs and certainly your laws while we're here on your jurisdiction. So the real orator wasn't here, so thank you for allowing me to stumble through this. That's the Pawnee chairman who's the real orator. Thank you again, and John will be in touch.
And we'll appreciate your being here. Yes. Chairman Watts? Councilman Watts, sorry.
There's also a chairman in the room.
I know.
Wrong chairman today.
I guess there might be questions.
Now, I do appreciate all the work that's went in to the presentation and everything else. There was possible action, and I understood when I talked to Councilman Bill John Baker that he was in support of it. So I'm not sure where he went, but he was going to make a motion to move to grant $50,000 towards the project to stabilize the buildings.
If you would talk with the Seminole Nation, you may not need to put up any money. They have a deal with
Can you
the
please,
Wachovia.
if you'll, and explain what you mean by that?
Well, they said that they would produce a loan from their people that they have at Wachovia Bank that they do business with, and stand behind that note. And we feel that the $4.2 million, that we'll raise that in a capital fundraising campaign, and the 1.3, I believe it is, John, 1.3 million would be a payback to that. And we believe we can do it because it's Chilocco. We have the alumni and all of their group behind us. They've already started a small campaign. The Seminole have given us their graphics facilities and a lot of their expertise.
Yes, Ms. Watts, you said it before.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think you've come to ask for money to assist with the project. Is that correct?
It is, but it's to stand behind a note.
Okay, I didn't know anything about standing behind a note, but I think that the body was considering $50,000 for you.
Mhm.
I don't know anything about standing behind a note, though.
Okay, I don't know where that figure would have come from.
Mr. Paris, do you want to, or?
If Dan's not an attorney, let me try to spell this out a little more clear. Essentially, there's bills to pay up there. They've got electricity turned on. You got to pay for electricity, whatnot. So $50,000 today would be wonderful. It would do some things. It might patch the roof on the building that you saw on the slide earlier, some things like that. It's the need at the campus is several millions of dollars. $50,000 is it's a start, but it doesn't go very far. It's a start. It would help the capital campaign, whatnot. What the Seminole proposed, which may make sense, is a loan guarantee where we'd take out the $1.3 million loan, and several tribes would be guarantors or co-guarantors of that loan. And so the $1.3 million would pay for some initial repairs and a capital campaign. Ideally, the money would be paid back from other donors, from foundations, from historic interest places, and possibly that would mean no money out of Cherokee Nation funds. It would all be paid for by other donations. If the other donations don't come in, obviously the loan guarantor has to make the loan good, and so you might have an exposure of $50,000 a year for the term of the loan, or whatever. Depends on how many tribes join in that effort to co-guarantee that loan. So it's alternative. I mean, both would help immensely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I understood from the proposals we've got that there was an immediate need for this money because there was 2 or 3 other tribes matching those dollars, and that it was to stabilize buildings, especially the primary building, the hall at Chilocco. And so now, I don't know, I mean, and the body may not want to do anything now, I'm not sure that.
I have Councilor Jordan.
Under the Seminole request, how would this be collateralized, this loan? What do they propose to collateralize it with? Is it going to be a signature type loan with no collateral up? Just we're going to be asked, I assume, to waive sovereign immunity
Yes.
to the amount of $1.3 million.
Right.
All guarantors are individually liable as well as a group being liable.
It could, that's probably how it would work out. It could be structured to where you could cap your liability a certain amount, and the other guarantors would have a similar amount.
And we are the second tribe you come to. Okay.
Right.
And there may not be 2, there could be several tribes that are interested in backing this. But the 50,000, I didn't know where that, I haven't seen that figure. The 2 figures I have seen are the 1.3 that would get the capital campaign started. And it would also get the study that we need of the buildings for the stabilization started. Whereas 50,000 is just, mowing expense. So, I'd rather get the whole ball started than, just a little piece of it. So I'm sorry if those figures came in, but I didn't know that number was out there.
Councilor Baker. Actually, a clarification, that's the number that we came up with among ourselves.
Oh, I see.
As a contribution towards the 1.2 million or 1.3 million, with the hope that it would be a start that you could go to other tribes to get them to match it or raise additional money. But, excuse me, Councilor Baker.
Yeah, and yes, it just came out of the top of the head because reading the stuff, we really didn't know what you were asking for and what literature we got. But I'm highly supportive. I mean, we've got Cherokee leaders,
Yep.
Cherokee elders,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of folks that I've looked up to all my life think fondly of Chilocco and their years there.
Yes.
We've had council people, we've had deputy chiefs, we've had many leaders within our tribe that were graduates of Chilocco. And I assume that if the Seminoles of Florida are willing to back a loan for 1.3 million, then if the Cherokee stepped in, we could take a portion thereof. And so, and I'm assuming that the Florida Seminoles are not wanting to, they're not required to just do one tribe. Would that be fair?
No, that's no.
Because our Creek brothers and our Choctaw brothers all had folks that went to Chilocco.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to step out here and make a motion that we guarantee $300,000 at the loan.
Second.
Okay. Is there any, I have 3 other people for discussion before the motion was made. Do y'all still? Okay. Councilor
I just
Hoskins.
have one quick, the Seminole Nation was waiting on another nation to step up.
Yes.
Is that a sufficient step up?
I think so. It's pretty sufficient. I've never turned down 50,000 even. But no, excuse me.
Based on your discussions with the Seminole Nation?
The 300 would be extremely helpful to get this ball rolling.
Thank you.
And we'd also like to have somebody of your choosing that sits on that board of Chilocco Benefit Directors. As a director.
Councilor Fishing.
How many other tribes was you all planning on contacting, guaranteeing?
Got several hundred that have graduates from. And you've got more than that, that people that came from tribes that didn't graduate. And the Navajo have a huge contingency. And when we go to them, we want to have that 1.3 in place, and we want to go with them with all of our representatives of the tribes that are behind us, because they're, also they had the #1 amount of graduates from Chilocco. They had a whole division of Chilocco that was, and they're very astute on Chiloccoans. We had, when we first started this, we had the National Association of American Indian Veterans come to us and said, Congress has just allocated us $80 million, and we're looking for a place to put this new facility for a memorial to American Indian veterans. And they wanted to do it at Chilocco. Well, I had just been in office. Guy, I think they came and talked to Guy Monroe, and the next thing we knew, they had built this in Phoenix. Well, I've been able to talk to them, and they're still willing to put a satellite there. And we talked to Dick West before leaving the National Museum of the American Indian, but you just bring up Chilocco, and he knows exactly what you're talking about putting a satellite of the National Museum of the American Indian at Chilocco. We don't want to use federal money, because we want this to be an American Indian, and we believe and we know American Indians can do this. So, but we would like to invite them to have their presence there. I think the National Museum of the American Indian is a first-class, American Indian representative.
Yes. Councilor Garvin.
Did you mention that you talked to the NCAI about helping this?
We have a resolution from them of the hundreds of tribes that were there that basically backs the concept. If there was ever to be a national cultural center, then this is where it needs to be. And you couldn't do this at Oklahoma City. The Navajos are going to look at you like you're from another planet. But if you say Chilocco, they'll do it. And that's the beauty and the power and the pull of Chilocco. And there's no other place. We're very fortunate to have that here. You can do that anywhere, in Kansas, in Florida, in California. If somebody said, we want you to be represented in California, the Poncas would look at them like, what are you talking about?
And it was established in Cherokee Outlet Plan 13 years before we were forced to sell the outlet.
Well, we really, by all cultural, political correctness, we should have been here first. It was that the Seminole came to us because they have such a love of the facility. They have a huge part of the alumni that.
And that's the Seminoles of Florida.
Of Florida, yes.
Right. Councilor Cobb.
I want to be clear. Councilor Baker's motion is to guarantee 300,000 of the 1.3. Is that correct? Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carried.
We will thank each and every one of you. There's too many to shake all of your hands, but that's generally customary with us.
Well, we appreciate you all taking the time to come down today. All of you. And please come back.
Yeah, we'd like to excuse ourselves if we may. We have some chairmen that are busy. Thank you again. God bless you.
Thank you. Next, we have our financial report. Ms. Ketcher.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You have my written report. We've got a pretty good agenda here today, so unless you have any questions, that's it.
Are there any questions of Ms. Ketcher?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, Cherokee Nation Enterprise, David Stewart. While we're waiting, we'll move on to Cherokee Nation Industries, Mr. McLemore.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your report that you have is the May result or the April results, and on our balance sheet we had $8.3 million, and accounts receivable is $13 million. Net inventory is $9.2 million. We had accounts payable of $11.4 million and total equity of $22 million. For the year-to-date through April 30th, we had total sales of $48 million, and the loss at that time was a little over $1 million. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Are there any questions, Mr. McLemore? Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Mr. Stewart?
Sorry about that. Well, good afternoon. C&E had an all-time high month in May. It continues to amaze us as we enter into somewhat of a recession and tough times. We're continuing to do very well. Net income was also a record month at $12.1 million. So we're very pleased. It's a result of a lot of hard work by our people. We continue to focus on controlling our expenses, not just relying on increases in revenue, because we know that there's going to be some effect of the recession as it comes in. So anyway, we need to commend our people. They're just doing a great job. The properties are moving along. December 15th is the opening date for the Catoosa Casino, and I think we're looking at September or maybe October for West Siloam. So if you'll remember, West Siloam will be opened, and then we'll tear down the other piece and rebuild it. So it's kind of a two-phase, really a three-phase, because then the hotel will be worked on. So we're going to look at opening up the new casino first and then phasing in the rest of it. So that's kind of a complicated sequence for us. But it's going well. The sequence for Catoosa is December for the casino, and then March for a portion of the hotel, and then May for the convention center, and then July for the concert hall. So we also have a phased approach for that. But December 15th, before first of the year, we're going to open the casino section. Our Cherokee employment remains strong at 58%. We're working very hard at keeping that percentage up as we hire over the next 6 months or 9 months. The West Siloam will be the first hiring phase, and then we'll get into Catoosa. But since we're opening up a lot of amenities, the steakhouse and things in West Siloam, there'll be, I think 400 jobs, 300 to 400 jobs that we'll be looking at. So everyone that you have that's looking for a job, get those resumes to us. We'll process them. And, of course, we don't want to take any more of your place. Sorry. Other than your employees. Yeah. So that's going very well. As a part of, well, also on the cultural tourism plan, we presented that to the Cultural Committee. Many of you heard that. So we will be looking to present that to our board at the next board meeting in July for approval. It will be the 3-year plan, and we're going to get you the packets that we mentioned. You'll get those in the next week, right, Felicia?
Yes.
So you'll have a package of the properties, the amounts, and the overall plan, and so we're going to get started with that. So our board deferred to approval after we presented that to you as a council to get input, and feel free to provide that input to us anytime you think you need to. As part of, Tina, your request to bring many of our Cherokees that work for us here at C&E, we'll bring them before you so you can meet them and find out what they do and who they are. They're in our leadership development program. We have a couple of different programs. One is called an executive development program, and one is a senior manager development program. So what I'll do is we'll get everybody up here, then they can introduce themselves, and if you would, your title and what you do, and then where your roots are in Cherokee country. I think that would be informative for the council, so you can meet them. So as I call your name, if you'll come up. Brandon Hill. Brandon, I thought you said. Oh, okay, it's on your list, sorry. Chris Province, I know you're here. All right, Chris. Don, you're here? Where's Don? No, Don's not here. All right, Samantha Hendricks. Samantha, come in. I'm kind of in the day, let's look at my audience. Talina No Fire. Talina, you got here you go. Celestia. Todd Gord. Donette Hubbard. Tanya is Tom Fisher. Yep. Yeah, okay, Tanya, come on up. And Gary Waddell. Come on up, Gary. And this is okay. All right, so this group is, of course, part of some of our senior and middle management. So why don't we just start with you, Chris, and name, title, what you do.
My name is Chris Province. I'm currently a casino shift manager with Will Rogers Downs. Born in Claremore, Oklahoma. Graduated high school in Claremore. Went to school at Stillwater on a number of Cherokee scholarships that I applied through the nation, and have been with CNE now for 2.5 years. The note that I would like to speak on is being a Cherokee and working with CNE, the way that they look at the development of us as professionals, whether it's being a part of this program or providing opportunity to work within multiple areas. It seems in the professional world, a lot of times if you're a marketing person, then you're always kind of stuck in a marketing role. But being with CNE, you're able to enter the company in an area that you may have a skill set for and have development opportunities outside of that area and be exposed to more knowledge because of the company we work for. And they're interested in the development of us as professionals. So that is just kind of the note that I would like to speak to, and how this is really a place where, as a member of the nation, I feel like I will retire from.
I'm Samantha Hendricks. I'm the HR manager at Silent Springs. I've been with CNE for about 4 years. I've got my master's degree, very much in tune with helping the Cherokee people with employment. So.
You're going to get your chance.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Talina.
From?
Huh?
From?
Oh, I grew up in Wilburton, Oklahoma. I currently am in Delaware County up by Langley, but I'm spending a lot of time in Siloam.
My name is Talina No Fire. I am the corporate compliance manager for Cherokee Casinos. I grew up around Stillwell, Oklahoma. Went to Stillwell High School. Somehow found my way through college and went to TU Law School and graduated from there with a law degree. Practiced for a while and decided I needed some excitement, so I came to the casino a few years ago. And
let me be. I want you to repeat that. Lawyers are not excited.
I figured out I went into the wrong field.
Talina has quite the talent. So she's not a typical lawyer.
I am not.
Yeah.
I got a little confused there for a while. But, basically what I do is I ensure that the casino abides by all regulations, whether it's tribal, federal law, state compact, and I help develop programs, training programs to ensure that our employees are effectively trained in that area.
And if you'll remember, internal audit used to be underneath C&E, and then we pulled internal audit to C&B, okay? So they basically look over our shoulder. So what we do is we develop competencies and review processes in the company so that when internal audit comes in and reviews, we're in compliance. So internal audit, we've kind of beefed that up internally so we didn't rely on internal audit outside the company to help us with that. So that's why we have compliance officers within the company to help us double check everything. So good job.
Talisha Nichols, Senior Manager of Cultural Tourism. My roots, my entire life has been in Delaware County. Grew up around the Cherokee Nation. currently been in Rogers County for about 7.5 years, and I've been with C&E a little over 8 years, excuse me. I've been in Rogers County over 8 years now, and I've been with C&E over 7 years. In about every branch of C&E, from gaming to marketing. I've seen it grow from being basically a bingo hall to what we are today, so it's been a great experience, and enjoy working for the Cherokee Nation. So.
I'm Tonette Hummingbird. I'm the Human Resources Manager. And a lot of familiar faces here. I've been around the tribe. In January, I started in '91 with Cherokee Nation. I've grown up with Cherokee Nation, graduated from Jay High School, went to school at Bacone, finished up at NSU, and started working, and just was working for the tribe since then. Spent 7 years working at Housing Authority, doing HR for Housing Authority up until about 3 years ago. And there was an opportunity in Tahlequah, which is where I live, and Jamie and I are raising our child, and so I've been in Tahlequah since then. In the Tahlequah and Fort Gibson locations, doing HR for both locations, and the corporate offices out at on Highway 51.
I'm Todd Gord. I am the Senior Manager of Enterprise Infrastructure, which is within
we don't even know.
Exactly. It's a fancy title for the computer guy, right? So, within our information systems group, my teams handle all of the infrastructure, all of the phones, all of the computers, the servers. We keep, I like to think of it this way, we keep the operations going. We are the backbone of the facilities. So I grew up in the Tulsa area. I currently live in Owasso. I'll take this opportunity. I have 3 great children that are proud to be Cherokees as well. As a matter of fact, the tidbit here, I'm a Rattling Gord. I was introduced as Todd Gord, but we're Rattling Gords. Live, as I said, in Owasso right now, and very proud, as Chris mentioned, to be in this S&DP program. There's wonderful opportunities as a Cherokee citizen to be a part of this, to not only understand the piece of the organization that you're in, but to have a broader view of the organization and to learn and to be, acclimated to the business itself. So it's been a great opportunity.
That's good that you understand what you do. Good. Tanya?
Okay, my name is Tanya Roof. I've been with the company for 15 years. My family, I'm the operations manager for both Roland and Salsa. And just like Talisha, I've seen it grown since the bingo days. It was just a bingo hall when I first started. And my family is from Vian. I graduated from Vian. And
well, you know.
My roots in...
Glad to be alive now.
Yes, I, set my roots in, with Bingo Outpost, and I've been there ever since I graduated.
And if you look at the financial results of Roland,
that's right.
It's really right.
That's right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but it's, for me, Cherokee Nation has been a part of my life, my whole life. I was born, in Hastings, and we moved off, and we came back, and my children were born at Hastings, and Cherokee Nation has brought me to where I am today. Thank you.
Good. All right, Gary, now this guy's, he's back home, around Walmart, he's feeling real good, right? I am. Yeah, Gary, interesting story about Gary. Connie came to work for us, his wife is in the administrative part of it. Sean said, Connie's husband's a Walmart guy. He's Cherokee. Really? So he kind of pushed it. He coordinated the interview. Of course, everybody's, yeah, Walmart, okay. So he coordinates the interview, kind of brought the process along, and then so all of a sudden we end up hiring Gary because of his retail experience to get into management of the casino. And it turns out he's just done a wonderful job. You've seen the success of Catoosa, and so I can't say enough about his dedication and what he's brought to C&E. So he opened up Catoosa, so now we asked him to go to West Siloam to open that property and bring some of all his knowledge about opening and C&E to West Siloam, because it's going to be a challenge to get that property up and really to be another Catoosa. So that's close to Walmart where he's from, so he's a happy camper except for the travel, so we're working with that. But I'll tell you, we asked him to do it. He said, you know, basically whatever you guys want me to do, I'm dedicated. So that's the kind of dedication that you have here from these people, and Gary is a great example of that. So
I appreciate that. As I said, my name is Gary Waddell. I'm currently the GM at West Siloam Springs. Love it over there. It is almost like Old Home Week. I see a lot of my old Walmart buddies, a lot of the retiree buddies coming in there to game with us. So, you know, it's building those relationships over there. My family's from all around this part of the country. I hail from Claremore. I graduated from Claremore High School, went to the junior college right after it was a military academy over there. So I'll probably date myself a little bit. I've got family up in Little Kansas, been there for about 30 years. They own a little gas station, liquor store, and laundromat there called Bo's. If you've ever been to Little Kansas, been to Bo's. I don't think anybody's ever visited the liquor store, but my mom does work in there. Her name is Louise, if you ever go in there. That's who she is. Most people probably don't know that, but I've been with C&E about 4.5 years. Love every minute of it. I spent 23 years with Walmart, moving around the country from I ran stores. I actually ran Claremore, Pryor, Owasso, in this part of the country. Worked in Alabama, worked in Colorado, worked in Lawton in that area, down with our friends, the Comanches, Apaches, and the Kiowas, down in that part of the world for about 6 years. In '99, I said, you know what, I think I've had enough moving, I think I'm going home. It landed this job at C&E. It's been the best thing in my life. I hope I spend another 23 years here. As far as the program, I'm on the executive development program. I've been there 2 years. I've been trying to graduate and haven't made it yet. I will tell you the part I get out of it. I think it's been beneficial to me as I get exposure to Dave, to Sean, to the executive management team. I get to see the processes that we go through. I didn't realize how complex it was. I think the programs exposed me to some of the probably the legal issues, the things that go on in our own government where people maybe try to pass bills against gaming, this type of thing. I didn't realize we had a lobbyist that kind of worked for us a little bit, kept us informed of what's going on. Learning the cultural piece of the Cherokee Nation is pretty exciting. You get to come to these meetings such as this, get to go listen to the chief speak on several occasions. That's the part that I like about the program. Not only am I learning about C&E, I'm also learning about the nation and how the nation operates and how we fit into that piece. So I think the program's been really beneficial in that respect.
And he's got some great roots. I was in Sturgis for a week with his dad. But we're not going to let you talk.
He made me work. I couldn't go.
Yeah. Bob, you want to come up? Bob Schooley just came on board. Bob has his doctorate in leadership development, and he was with a consulting firm that I hired several years ago to come in and get this program started. And basically, he and I were kind of the brainstorm kind of child of the program, and then he got a little too expensive, and I hired him. So I actually made money by doing that. But he is so excited about what we do at C&E. He's worked at many companies, and you can tell him your own words, Bob, but he was excited enough that he gave up his own practice to come work 100% at C&E, and he works for me, and we work on special projects, and this leadership development piece of it is one thing that he works on. So we're glad to have him. If you want to provide comment, he does the programming and all of the coaching and all of that stuff for all of the people in the program. So
one of the things that David mentioned being excited about, it's wonderful. I really tip my hat to David and Sean and our executive management team, because when we sat down and talked about it, I said, there's two ways we can do this. We can lecture to them about leadership, or we can put them on projects that demand them to be leaders. And they wholeheartedly said, hey, let's go for it. Let's put them on projects. We want to get them out there. You don't learn about leadership in the classroom. You learn about it out on the front lines. So I really tip my hat to David and the EMT. We've tackled, this group right here has tackled multiple projects that's thrown a lot of money to our bottom line, and I really tip my hats to them because they still have their day jobs, and then they're in this program doing these projects. So it's been a blast. We're really looking forward to growing the program. We're going to start going out to the properties. We hope to continue to help people develop the leadership skills they need to be executives inside of the company.
Now, is everybody on a project?
Yep.
Okay, why don't we go through, what project are you on, Chris?
I'm on the Generation X, Generation Y marketing.
Okay, so Generation X and Y is coming up, so what we're doing is we're developing strategies so that our marketing is not just for, the older generation like you. So anyway, so we're getting ready for that, and that's a process that is going to take years, and we don't want it to slip up on us, so Chris is part of that team to help develop recommendations and strategies. So Smith.
Ours was the passion for people and the employment of choice and helping with the rollout of the Advantage.
Okay, so passion for people. Why don't you just tell them what that is?
Help me out there.
No, you know what it is.
Oh, well, it's helping with the employer of choice, being passionate as far as with people and as far as and I'm stumbling here.
That's all right. So it's all about, go ahead, Felicia.
I was just going to say,
Good.
we're all three on the same
Yeah, they're all
project.
So they all don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, none of us, between the three of us, we'll get it out in a second. You want to go?
I was just going to say, our goal is to be the #1 employer around here, and to develop ways to get the best people here, to keep the best people here at the casino.
Yep. And to add to that, we were just named the employer of choice by the Best of the Best Oklahoma magazine this last month. So that's for me as an employee with C&E for over 7 years, I think that's wonderful, and I agree with everything that was said from this whole group, and I enjoy working with this group. But a passion for people is, and we actually had the opportunity to choose the project that we were going to work on, and so it was kind of nice that we all got to do something that we felt close to and passionate about. And we've included the Advantage rollout, which is a project.
Too complicated.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, we just implement programs that assist employees with understanding the company and how we're passionate about the people.
And being the employer of choice.
And being the employer of choice. That's our #1 goal.
And one of the drivers behind that is if we have good people and they're happy, then our customers are going to be happy. So we really started way back from kind of the roots of having our employees that are having fun when they go to work. And if they have fun, then our customers are going to have fun. So it goes back to that fundamental concept. And then also, that's one of our biggest challenges is hiring people. So as we get into very low unemployment and we have to hire all these people, we need to have good programs, and we need to have people that say, it's a great place to work. So that's another reason why we do that. So you three, what about you?
Excuse me, Councilor Baker.
Yeah, and that sounds wonderful. I mean, we've got so many employees who are single moms, single dads, visitation on weekends, and boy, if we could just be a little compassionate about, let them do what they love, but be with their kids, at that opportunity. I mean, you'll have so much happier employees and less turnover, and I don't know that we can. I mean, I realize that we're highly structured and all, but boy, if we can just be a little bit forgiving on not changing their hours so that they can't visit their kids and that kind of thing.
If I can comment from a GM perspective, and I was probably part of the group that kind of started the passion for people, and I'm on to a different phase. But some of the things, it's a real simple process sometimes. Sometimes it's as simple as posting their schedules 2 weeks out, making sure at a minimum they're 2 weeks out in advance so they know when their days off are. They can adjust their schedules. And I don't know that was going on as often as it should have, but that's some of the projects we've done. We've improved our orientation program. We've got that really streamlined. I think sometimes the better the orientation, the better the retention is going to be. So we really look at how to acclimate them to the property, take them on tours of the property, show them where they're going to work. So a lot of this passion for people started at the beginning, of the hiring phase, but it does go down to how to be a kinder, gentler manager, if you will, how to seek a win-win. As you said, sometimes people come up and they have issues. We need to help them deal with that. So it has been a passion for people from a lot of aspects of the management side of it. And we're still improving, but that's the thing we're trying to do from a management team is make it a good place to work. Want them to come to work, have a good time, enjoy their job, but we have a responsibility as management to make sure that happens and it's a good work environment.
Sam trained a lot of good folks.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So now did you?
I'm on the Gen X and Y project with Chris, and for an HR person, that's an operational thing, and so I'm stepping out of what I do every day, but I'm finding that I'm able to really help from the standpoint of I deal with people every day, so looking at how to attract and retain people as employees is also something that spills over and can help us from the standpoint of marketing to those people as well. So, and it's real interesting. It's kind of fun.
So I'm representing the green team, and so basically it's an environmental team looking for opportunities to increase the knowledge of our employees and within the facilities, recycling, taking care of our Cherokee counties, making certain that they stay clean, and that we reduce as well as reducing waste, we're reducing expenses in some of those ways by reducing the electricity that we use and reducing, again, the supplies that we need. So.
Good. And how many are on your team?
We have about 5, I believe.
5 people.
Mine is improving internal and external guest service. And we feel that just like with what Gary was saying with, posting the schedules in advance, if you improve your internal guest service between departments and between management and the front line, is that you will get better results with your guests. So those are some of the things that we've been working on. We're trying to, currently we're trying to work on our pre-shift process, so our team members get the information that they need about all areas of the casino. Not too much information, but just something to hit it that maybe sticks with them. And also we're still working on trying to get something lined out where we can give people that are doing excellent guest service a type of reward that is continuous. So if you get up to a certain level, you're basically, you're our star. So yeah, so we're working on that. We haven't got that lined out, but we've been meeting frequently, at least once, every couple weeks, and so we're working on it.
And internal customer, external customers, of course, are guests. But if you're HR, you really don't touch our customers. So their customer is really all of the other departments. So IT, for example, would be a customer of HR, and HR would be a customer of IT. So basically, they have to treat them in a way that has a good, they do feedback and guest surveys, and their guest survey is, hey, am I giving you the right IT services that you need? Or is HR doing the right thing for your department? So we've got this internal customer thing going as well as the customer service. So it's a whole culture of treating people, the way they should and doing the right thing. So anything to add? We'll try to wrap it up.
Basically, I'm actually coaching a group of SDP individuals right now. There's 2 of us on the executive management team, and our topic is culture. We're working on our company culture. How do we reward employees? How do we recognize them for a job well done? What are some things we can do to improve that piece of it? So that's what I'm coaching on right now.
Okay, good. Any comments, questions? All right.
Just one question.
I know.
I'm learning.
I may not have a lot more. We get the program. Councilor Praley.
I have a question for the Mr. Green team there.
Yes.
That's a very important responsibility that you have, this particular project.
Yes.
Do you, or how do you reach out into the community? Do you partner with your community, the area, and provide help in that respect?
We are working on that now. We are still very early in our, if you will, our partnering and communication process, but we are looking at opportunities to partner with the community as well as educating our employees so that they can go back and educate individuals within their communities as well.
But what they'll do is they'll come up with a plan and then present it to the management team, and then we'll adopt their recommendations or whatever and take it as a corporate initiative. So they're still developing all those recommendations. So.
Thank you.
Sure. Councilor Baker.
If you really want to reward the employees right now today, you need to have a gas pump in the back for the employees. $2.99 a gallon.
I know. You can have that. All right.
You can send them by my store.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well.
Needs to be changed to a Prius or something.
Sorry?
Why are we driving SUVs on our fleet?
We're looking at that. That was a discussion we had on the list.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something we had on.
Going to natural gas, all those kinds of issues will be evaluated by the team. They'll come back and go, hey, do this, do that, and they'll have a business analysis and all that stuff. So it's good stuff. Thanks everybody for coming in.
Appreciate all you being here. And thanks for all your work for the Cherokee Nation.
Okay, well, that would conclude my report unless there's any questions about anything.
Any questions for Mr. Stewart? Okay, thanks very much.
All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Mr. Carson with Cherokee Nation Businesses gave his regrets. He had to leave. He had a business meeting and couldn't stay. So, next we have Career Services and Employment, Diane Kelly.
Waiting patiently.
Yeah, I started to leave. I really did. My leg's hurting me. We have some really good news. We got a call yesterday from the Dallas Regional Office, and they have approved our 5-year contract. We worked on that thing since March, and it's been up and down, and Linda Bynum, our contract officer, is a new player in the picture. We didn't have a contract officer at the regional level, and that was in there. So we're very pleased, and the staff were really, I want to toot their horn because we had we spent several weekends working on that thing. Summer youth, I know that you all were real interested in that, and we appreciate the tribal funds. We have a total of 426 summer youth kids on the program. And it's been one of those summers that everybody waited till the last minute, and there are 426. And according to Christy, that if they all stay on the program up through the end of the program, we will spend the funds, because we only have $16,000 right now, and we have it all obligated. So we're very pleased. Staff have done a good job. They've put in a lot of long hours. Tomorrow, Facet will have their 30-year anniversary, and I was asked to send some flyers around to make sure you all knew about it. They're in our industrial park. They're in Stillwell, and they'll be celebrating their 30-year anniversary. Everything kicks off at noon tomorrow, and they've got a picnic planned. They'll feed you. They encourage any of you all to come out and see their operation, and come out and visit the industrial park if you haven't seen it, because I know somebody said they hadn't been to Chilocco. Well, this is in our industrial park, and we encourage you to come out. Gatorade was here Tuesday. We met with the chief, Chris Weber, and he was also spent the whole day with me. I took him around the Cherokee Nation, gave out Gatorade to some of the staff, gave out caps, and has been working very closely with us, and a lot of good things going to happen there with Gatorade. Cultural Enrichment Day for the Cherokee Nation Summer Youth Program is next Monday. We have several activities planned for our summer youth kids. We're busing them in from all points to the Job Corps Center. Job Corps kids have gone home for the summer for 2 weeks, and we're using their facility Monday. And I've got staff that are coming in, and we're doing a traditional hog fry, because some of these kids have never been to a hog fry, believe it or not. And they are going to be involved in some cultural activities. They're going to do some stickball tournaments, and we're going to do some Cherokee marble tournaments with them in the afternoon. And all of our staff will be over there working at Job Corps on Monday. Juanita Sanders' last day was yesterday. Brenda Fitzgerald, who is our voc rehab manager, will be assuming the responsibilities for vocational education. She's moved over into the main office as of this week. And if you don't know Brenda, Brenda is a former Miss Cherokee. She used to be Brenda Krause, and Brenda will be working with vocational education. So if you've got questions where you were making referrals through Dinah Turtle to Juanita, well, now they'll go to Brenda Fitzgerald. I want to thank Dr. Morton and the Education Department for the additional dollars that they moved to realign for vocational education, so that we can help some of those people this summer with vocational education money. So that kind of ties to my report for this month. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Kelly?
Thank you.
Thanks very much, and thanks for staying. Next is Commerce and a Night. Or her representative.
Sorry, Anna wasn't able to be here this afternoon. I'm Shay Smith. You should have a copy of the Commerce Group report, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions, Ms. Smith?
Here of late, the And apparently, the Housing Authority changed the rules. Now it's over at the, under Shay, as far as the mortgage assistance and that kind of thing. Some of the lowest income folks, even with mortgage assistance, have been relying on water and sanitation to do their septic tanks and water wells, especially if they're buying a double wide or something along those lines, where that's the only place that they can get a payment down cheap enough that they can afford to buy anything. And they've always relied. Well, apparently the rules have somewhat changed, but the way it is right now, Shay cannot close their loan until there's a water and sanitation in place, or at least guaranteed. Water and sanitation can't guarantee until the home's there. That's their rule. And I guess what I'm asking the council is, if they get services of mortgage assistance, do we intend for them not to get water and sanitation? And if that's the case, then maybe a resolution to try and figure out how we can work with the two programs in order, and income guideline, I mean, lowest of the low, I mean, that's no problem. But some of these folks are not going to get housing if we don't make some kind of a concession on this. And so it's not a law, it's nothing, but I would put in the form of a motion, a resolution to ask the administration and to try and figure out how we can accommodate those folks at low income, that so that they can avail themselves of both programs. And that's the form of a motion.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Then all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried.
So are there any specific questions for me?
You're doing everything you can. You're doing a fine job, I might add.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Shane.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda are consent items, are the tarot certifications, and those were in your packet.
Yes.
No? Yes.
Diane. Kelly. On the tarot certifications, were you going to try to take the renewals and break out who owns the companies and the percentage of the Indian ownership on the renewals?
Yes, on the renewals.
Okay. Based on that, I would ask that we hold these renewals for a month so that she can accomplish that, and ask that in the future, and I think she's already working on this, that possibly when the renewals come up, that we could update their paperwork and make sure the company is still owned by the same people.
The only problem you've got, Todd, is that if you wait for another month, if some of them are wasted bids, if they don't have that renewal, they won't be able to bid.
Well, there's a few on there that I really question, and I think that a couple of them you've already been informed about.
Okay, so
How do
if
we
you're
not-
questioning a couple of them, would you not hold, I mean, you're going to hold up all the rest of them?
I got an idea.
Okay. I defer to my counterpart here just a second.
When we move it to full council and give her time to get that to you, and then we can approve it at full council.
Would that give you enough time?
I know it doesn't want it, but we could do a line them to approve it there. Next meeting.
Okay. So you're going to make a motion that we move it to full council?
Just the tarot renewals for this month.
Okay, the motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
That we move the tarot certifications and renewals to full council for this month only.
This month.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next are roads.
Would it be inappropriate to ask that roads, community assistance, law enforcement requests, and cemetery requests, that we just vote on those and all at the same time, given the fact that most of us will be attending that forum at 6? Would that, I'd put that in the form of a motion.
That we approve. Well, I think we have a problem with the cemetery restoration assistance applications.
Okay, let's pull that one out, and maybe the other three, we just vote in as one vote. I would
Okay.
amend my motion then to just include those three.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the approval of the roads, community assistance, and law enforcement requests? Yes, Mr. Evans.
Do you have to vote on the motion first?
We're under discussion. Do you have something to add?
Just that the roads has an amendment I passed out to include a road project that was left off the list for Lost City.
I would ask to include that in
And
the
there was
roads.
a whole slew of community assistance that was added, so we just distributed another report.
Are
And
they
there was
all
one
on-
item needed to be added to the community assistance.
Are they all on this report, Doug?
They're all on that one with
Except one?
half page in yellow.
Is there one more you said?
There's one more, Flute Springs Community, $1,000. Mr. Thornton for the organization.
I would ask that we add that one.
And the law enforcement has some additional ones as well.
Where's the roads?
Mr. Hoskin.
Hold on, we got two more.
Mr. Hoskin has...
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think he's going to address the law enforcement one. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Law enforcement, there's not that many. I can just run down law enforcement real quick. Other than the Sperry Police Department that was in your packet, Muskogee County Sheriff Department, $2,720 for deputy vest, Mr. Garvin. Salina Police Department, $2,500, Ms. Fraley, for uniform badges, rain gear. Town of Spavinaw, $2,400 for portable radios, also Ms. Fraley. And Nowata Police Department, $3,000 equipment and equipment maintenance, Mr. Hoskins. Those are the only changes to the law enforcement, and again, the community assistance had that one added to the revised list. Now here's two more, was just handed. Both are Ms. Fulbright, Sequoia County Fairgrounds, $2,000. $14 Flags Heritage Club, $3,000.
Okay. Ms. Fishing Hall.
I want to tell David Thornton, thank you for giving $150 to the Lonnie School.
You were.
I think it's a mistake. You might want to look at it.
Okay. Are there any other additions or corrections to the roads, community assistance, or law enforcement requests?
That's all I know of.
Any further discussion? All in favor of their approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next is the cemetery restoration assistance application. And we have the same problem that we had last month, that some of the districts are running out of money, or have run out of money, I should say. Do we have, I don't...
In the mod.
This particular list has been included in the mod, as we talked about last month, incorporating it into the, again, these are already appropriated funds, so these are earmarking consents. That packet had several cemeteries in it. Cochran Cemetery, Cherokee County, Little Deer Cemetery, Adair, Spade Mountain Cemetery, Adair, Delaware County, the Snell Cemetery, Wycliffe Cemetery, and Mays Indian Spiritual Grounds, Lord Cemetery, in Tulsa or Washington County. I'm not really sure what county they're in, but District 8, and White Cemetery in Sequoia. And there's one that's been added to that was in the packet, and that's the Riggs Cemetery in Rogers. And again, we're in a situation where 3 of these cemetery requests, as long as we're on this, allocating by counselor, they've exceeded their funds. And we talked about, Mr. Chairman, when we visited about this program, if the body, one option the body may consider is allowing this program to fund cemeteries on an as-needed and as-identified basis versus an as-where it is. And then as they come in and get processed, once this program starts to run low on funds, whether that's every year or every other year, then a funding appropriation could be considered. But we're either going to have to continue this reallocation by taking small amounts of money out of everyone else's fund to fund these that have ran out, or we're either going to have to continue doing that or do something different.
Because right now there would be 3 cemeteries that would be denied because the districts are out of money.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I make a motion that we pool the dollars, take care of the cemeteries, and when we get close to running out, we reappropriate. Motion.
And the motion is made that we pool all the dollars, and not by district, but as a pool, and then if we run out, we can replenish the funds. Do I hear a second?
One second.
Is there discussion on that?
Yes. Go for discussion now. Yes.
Is that a permanent deal? Is that just for now? Is that for...
It makes sense to do it permanently that way, and that and then in the budget cycle, we can guesstimate how much we'll spend in that next year and appropriate those dollars.
Well, and I'll be the first to admit that I think, as Councilor Hoskin alluded to, math is not exactly my favorite subject, but and I don't mean this in any derogatory manner, but I mean, if you don't have the money, I mean, in my business, if I don't have the money, I don't write the check.
Right.
So I don't understand. I mean, we all know how much money we have. I mean, and if I'm missing something, somebody tell me. I mean, if you know how much money you have for these projects, and I mean, I don't have the luxury in my business. If I don't have the money, I just write the check anyway. Is my point. So I don't. My question is does this, being on the council a year, is this something that happens every year? So go ahead. I'm finished. Thank you.
Ms. Watts was next.
I'm not opposed to the idea entirely, but I indicated last month, and I think I was pretty fair to my partners on this council, everybody involved, that I would do it that once because I saw that there was a need, that people didn't clearly have a message from all districts that there was no money. But I would not do it then again the next month. However, with that said, I understand, like in August, if I have money left on the table, and there's a fair shake for Rogers County Cherokee because I did another effort in asking them if they want to do it, and I have several applications pending. So I do not want to take funds out of my bucket of money because I fulfilled my part of the promise and let them all know again, and now I'm actually getting them in, and for them to not have money after we did that, I think that's unfair to the rest of the districts. So.
Although I will make the statement that at this point, there's 90, if we approve those today, including the ones that are over, there's still 92,000 that's left in the program, and we've expended only 34,000 for the year. So if we were pooled, we'd have 92,000 to work with. So that being said, Mr. Baker?
Yeah, and the way we originally started doing this, we made the motion and put the money in, and we got a motion to separate it by the counties, which was fine. And then we funded it a second year, And then we kept having these carryovers, so we haven't funded it in a year or two. Is that correct? Yeah, we hadn't funded it in 2 years. Now, we have finally run out in Cherokee County because, one, there's a lot of Cherokee cemeteries, and two, there's still enough elders around taking care of them. Well, they have come back to us for a second year, a third year, a fourth year. And, I mean, it's a great program. And these cemeteries are being kept up and reclaimed. And, I mean, we're all supposed to be promoting the culture, heritage, and history of the Cherokee Nation, no matter where you find it. And we have people that are utilizing this fund. Now, further away, maybe they were bigger cemeteries or the word hadn't got out, but whatever. But I'm telling you, if I had plenty of money and you had none, I'd be the first one at the table saying, let's put some more money in there for you. And but I don't think we ought to, because we can do a simple thing of pooling the $90,000 that we've got. And Doug, what do we normally spend in a year for the whole?
Well, this is by far the most we've expended in 1 year.
Okay. So normally we're spending, $25,000. We spent $35,000 so far this year. There won't be that many more that come forward, and we can get all the way through this year and maybe through next before we have to belly up the bar and put another $40,000 or $50,000 in the program. But these elders are not going to be around forever, and these cemeteries need to be protected, and they're meeting the 50% or 51% Cherokee and historical significance and all. They just happen to be a bunch of them utilized in Cherokee and Adair County. And but rather than say, hey, we need a supplemental funding to add $2,000 to everybody's thing, why don't we just pool them, and then when we get low on funds, replenish it, because I really believe that this is a worthwhile thing that I think everybody on this council thinks is a good thing and will want to refund. And it's just a way to do it with just changing the allocation of the dollars instead of adding new monies to it.
Mr. Sutton.
Yes, I would be in support of Councilor Baker's recommendation, provided that we just make this in-house program that the administration runs and let our staff do more important things than to try to follow up on these cemetery applications and reallocation of funding from month to month and those types of issues. So I would be in support of that.
Can I say something?
Okay.
We talked to
Mr. Hoskin.
Well, it's to his point.
Okay. Go ahead.
We've talked about that before, and administration, I think, really wanted us to take the applications. And then they administer the program over there and cut the checks and all.
Okay. So, Mr. Hoskin.
Just briefly, I want to see the council continue to take these applications, and I know administration does do some work on the follow-up, and but I don't think that aspect of it needs to change to get what Councilman Baker wants to do. And just point of clarification, Councilor Soap's notion is not part of this motion. Is that correct?
Right. It's not at this time. Okay. Next item. Mr. Cobb.
I just want to be clear that we are contemplating giving some of our community assistance ability to the administration on a permanent basis. Is that what we're talking about here?
No, we're just, instead of saying that each council person has whatever the dollar amount is that they started with a year. And the dollar amount varied so widely because it was carried over from 3 years. And so we're finally out in Cherokee County. Adair County's finally out. And your money will last another 10 or 15 years at the current rate of spending. Ours is gone. But this money is, $500 a year for fencing and upkeep of Cherokee graves. And why wouldn't we, spend the money down? We've got $90,000. Why wouldn't we spend it down for 2 years or so, and then add to it to keep this a perpetual program?
Okay, Councilor Watt?
No, I'm done, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Fulbright?
Well, I am in favor of Mr. John Baker's recommendation because I've got several applications out, and we have many Cherokee cemeteries in Cherokee County that have never received it, and I know we're going to go over our limits, and I think we should just use it where the cemeteries are until it's gone, regardless of what district or county it's in.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Yes,
So
Ms.
it's
Fraley.
more or less a first come, first served basis until the money's gone.
Yes. Dr. Collins?
I just want to make sure we're clear that there are cemeteries in Washington County, I'll promise you. And there are a mixture of Delaware, Cherokee, and Osage in those cemeteries. And there are a lot of them. One of the issues that we have been dealing with in Washington County is my friend and former District 8 Councilor Bill Johnson actually found a document in the Washington County Courthouse that those cemeteries are supposed to be taken care of by the county commissioners by the county. Now, I don't know if that applies to the rest of the Cherokee Nation, but it does in Washington County. And that's one of the issues we're facing. That's why some of this is still there. We're trying to figure out who's supposed to be doing what. But anyway, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on that. Thank you.
Ms. Jordan?
You can kind of get an idea how many cemeteries you do have in each of your counties because the OSU Extension Center has actually put together a book where they went out and tried to locate every cemetery in every one of the 77 counties. And they have that available at the OSU Extension Center, if that would be of help to anybody as to kind of have an idea how many cemeteries you're talking about in your county.
Is there any other discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. There are 2 opposed? Oh, okay, there's 4. Did you get the 4 that are opposed, Shelley? England and Watts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've taken care of item 1 on new business, and item 1B is the cultural exchange for the Tribal Youth Council.
I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded that we approve the $4,980 as requested.
Add it to the mod.
Yes, and add it to the mod.
Any discussion?
I do have just
Okay.
If that's okay at this
Yes,
time.
it is. Would the President of the Youth Council like to?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay. Ms. Jordan first, and then,
I just wanted that $30 a day, is that for your meals? That seems awful low. I don't know, I guess you get hamburgers for that, don't you? Or are you taking your food?
There's going to be a few times that, we'll be taking our food.
On the days that we're on the road and travel.
I would suggest to this body that we ought to up that to about $50. I mean, we get more than that per diem.
so is that part of
So what
the,
is our per diem?
Depends on where you go. It's anywhere from 39
It just seems awful low.
Average for the
Are you asking to amend the motion?
Yes.
The amount?
I haven't heard the presentation yet.
Okay, excuse me.
I would, the speaker's absolutely correct.
Right.
We need to.
But we have Mr. Garvin.
Yes, I just wanted all the council up here in front so we could see them all and talk to all of them at the same time.
Okay. The chair will allow your presentation now, without interruption.
Some of them out there, you're not for the
It's about 30. I think someone said 4. Okay. Go right ahead.
Okay. Hello, CEO. My name is Kinsey Shade. I'm the District 1 representative for the Cherokee Nation Tribal Youth Council. Okay, I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm J.C. Lowe, and I'm the District 4 representative.
I'm Will Shaver, and I'm District 3 representative.
وسيتشت نقاط كيو بستيل دعوتهم شكدوكي صافو جالوكي شكدو Koi still District 1 also a Kinsey representative.
Shioliga. I am Christina Hanvey, and I'm District 2 representative vice president. Okay. To talk a little bit about our trip, the dates are July 7th through July 13th. The purpose of us going on our trip is to share our language, our culture, and our government to the Crow Agency in Montana. Also, while we're out there, we're going to be doing community service. At this time, we do have an in-kind donations of staff and vehicles. And what we're asking today is just for the help of lodging and meals for us to be able to go to the Crow Agency and just share what we do and see what kind of similarities and comparisons that are between us. And I'll let Christina speak.
I was just going to kind of touch on why we decided to go to Montana and the Crow Agency. Our trip really is going to be an opportunity for us to participate in cultural exchange. I believe that we are scheduled to be learning crafts, crow crafts, and a song. So in exchange, we'll be teaching them a Cherokee craft and a Cherokee song. And we're really excited about the experience because we're going to get to interact with elders as well as youth and really just kind of get to hang out as tribal youth and get to kind of interact and talk about that. And we're really excited because the experience, we believe, is a great opportunity for us to be exposed to tribal sovereignty where it concerns other tribes.
Good.
Is there any questions?
Yes. Okay.
Well, we'd like to thank the council, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Garvin, anything further?
I just wondered, the way this, on this paper, is $10 a meal for 7 days. Does that sound reasonable, or, I know you can go to a restaurant, probably spend $30 one meal. But, I agree, we probably need to bump that on up to 50.
This big guy back here might appreciate that.
Believe it or not, she eats more than I do. These two together.
We change that to $50.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor of amending the motion to $50 a day for the meals, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Any other discussion on the original motion? Yes.
It says $89. Does that include your tax also on the
Government rate.
rooms at government rate? Or any tax or income included in that?
Reba.
$89, does that include taxes and everything, what the government rate for? Yeah.
It's included in there.
Call for the question.
Okay. Question's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your trip and thanks for bearing with us today.
We'd also like to thank everyone for eating our Indian tacos today.
They were very good. We appreciate it.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
The amend the agenda under new business, if at all possible.
Okay. To add?
Budget request, it's more of a rider, actually, in the comprehensive budget, under number 2. I think it's been passed out. It's the Delaware Tribe of Indians passed their money.
Oh.
I think,
Probably. Yes, I didn't.
May I add to that, there is a presentation by Julie Miss Oklahoma that she wants to make a presentation also.
And we're sending the letter of introduction to them now. So, but that will all fall under item 2. Okay.
I'm not seeing the Delaware.
Will it?
Okay.
Okay. Doug?
Sir.
I'll recognize you for budget mod.
Yes, sir. Okay, the budget mod, and I'm going to go through this very quickly. I know you've been here a long time. The June grants totaled almost $1 million, with the lion's share of that being in DHHS, the Family Preservation and Support, and carryover adjustment and funding adjustment. Another $250,000, almost Department of Labor for Talking Leaves. Job Corps received 2 revised grant awards this month. Mod 9 had 15 budgets totaling $852,000. About $300,000 of that in the general fund. The Gen Fund Ops is increasing item to cover prior year net deficits for closing out an accounting unit related to the Sequoia High School gym. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. The cash match for grants is reallocating the transfer of 50/50 cash match of $150,000 to the USDA Community Planning Grant. This particular grant was previously funded from the HOSDA block grant funds, and you'll notice a note in my memo where that should have freed up $150,000 for more program services on that HOSDA budget. It's the Housing Accessibility Program for a $200,000 increase to the current budget of $400,000. There's a special note on this one. That program has already overexpended its program by $180,000. So 90% of this increase is already spent. Old Homeland Building requesting a budget increase, $11,000 to pay off a note payable that was going to mature early next year. So Cal is just asking to bring that forward to go ahead and close that loan out and get it in the CAFR as a closed debt item, as well as the Facet Industrial Building for $30,000. And that one is very attractive to pay off due to its higher interest rate. The Sequoia High School Multipurpose Center is a new budget for $40,000 for the artwork in the center. Funds were originally part of the Capital Project Fund, and that's transferring $500,000 back into the general fund. This is related, partially related to what I just mentioned earlier with closing out the Sequoia High School gym to the Gen Fund. Don't want to get in a lot of technical jargon here, but what we're doing is the Capital Project Fund was a holding fund for all the capital expenditures of the gym, regardless of the funding year or the funding source, for that matter. We're capturing all the costs. Once it's completed, the project's closed out, it goes into the General Fixed Asset Account Group under the General Fund. And that's what Callie's doing here with these budgets. The Motor Fuel Tax Fund has a $215,000 budget increase. 140 of that's carryover funds from the prior years for the Minor Emergency Repair Program. Very popular program. Also in there, in the motor fuels, is a $75,000 reallocation. As you may recall, the Higher Education Scholarship Program received a significant funding, one-time funding in early in 2007 that was basically funded with the intent to allow the Education Department to determine any shortfall of funding or additional needs in excess of funding level for undergraduates, graduates, or VOTEC, vocational ed scholarships. This is a situation where some of the voc ed scholarships have depleted theirs, and some of that large appropriation needs to be transferred over to avail more funding for that VOC because it was not in the 2008 comprehensive budget as receiving any of those carryover funds. Force accounts closing out the old equipment replacement repairs accounting budget. The CDFI is requesting authority on $9,400 for staff development and training of prior year carryover. Self-governance, Tar Creek's adjusting their funding by $14,000 downward from their previous anticipated carryover amount. The Indian Child Welfare is requesting an increase in spending authority of $20,000 due to some IVE income received this fiscal year. And I'm unclear as to what IVE stands for, but the Indian Child Welfare Program is receiving income, program income, that wasn't in their previous budget, and they're requesting to have spending authority on it. The NAHASDA fund for the 06 IHP community planning is requesting to shift the USDA planning cash match transfer of that $150,000 I mentioned earlier from this block grant, the NAHASDA grant, over to the GEN fund. So now what we're doing is we're lifting the cash match that we previously were providing out of our block grant, and they're requesting to pay for that out of the tribal GEN fund, which that's what I was saying. In my note, there's no request was submitted to utilize these funds that are getting freed up. So if the block grant's not going to pay a cash match, I was looking for another budget to come in to utilize this $150 that's not going to be required under a cash match if GEN fund's going to pay for it. Consideration could be to review the possibility of utilizing these housing dollars to offset the tribal funding requested in that earlier item number 3 for the housing accessibility program. If the IHP community planning program is not paying a $150,000 cash match and is asking for the tribal GEN fund to pay it, then obviously the block grant's getting freed up $150,000. But in the same budget mod, there's also a request out of GEN fund to subsidize the housing accessibility grant for $150,000, or I think it's $150,000. I think about the same level, $200,000. That's the program that's already spent the majority of it. So I think that should be a consideration because of the simple fact that this program has overexpended tribal discretionary dollars. And they're asking for $200,000 of tribal discretionary dollars, and at the same time wanting the GEN fund, the discretionary dollars, to fund a cash match on a federal program. But when that frees up the federal program's cash match that previously was budgeted, that's not even being asked for.
Got to miscatch her.
So,
Just to Doug's comment there, one of the reasons the program didn't ask for NAHASDA on the housing accessibility is it puts more restrictions on that program then. Housing accessibility is supposed to be a small repairs. It's supposed to be very responsive to get out and help people with emergency repairs. If you start supplementing it with NAHASDA dollars, then you've got to do environmentals, you've got to do...
Are we sure about that?
I checked with Marvin on that, and if we're spending NAHASDA dollars, you're going to have to be subject to NAHASDA rules. So that's the main reason there. Housing accessibility was a general fund, or motor fuels tax is where I think it started, and it was a tribal initiative to go out and meet the needs of some of these citizens who we might not be able to get to as quickly just utilizing NAHASDA.
Mr. Baker.
And I think Kelly's on point there about the having to do the environmentals and all that. But she brought something else to mind. We've got a $1,000 self-help program that is tribally funded that is not being utilized. They have spent, I think there's $150,000 left in it. There's only or maybe $200,000 left in it. And the biggest problem is the income guidelines are the lowest guidelines of any program we've got. It's lower than LIHEAP. It's lower. I think a family of 2 can't make $14,000 or something ridiculously low. And this is the one where they're going to go out and get their kids to buy the materials and get their kids to fix their porch, or to fix their windows, or to fix it. It's not for paint or anything but roofs, shingles, the important things. And if we could see a way to raise that income limit so that more people could access it, because they're doing the work themselves. They're not, it's a much lower guideline than going up and having rehab come in. And if we could raise it to the rehab guidelines as far as income, I think we'd find a whole lot more folks being able to utilize that program.
Are some of these costs going to be shifted over there that they overspend?
I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right program here, Mr. Baker, but self-help emergency assistance, I show, has a budget of $620,000, and they've expended about $290,000 through April. So unless I'm looking at the wrong program.
I think you are.
Okay.
I think it must be picking up speed.
No.
Is it a different program?
Me and you looked at it, they're taking weatherization out of it, they're taking the flood.
Excuse me, Ms. Fishing-Hall?
I'm sorry.
I yield to Ms. Fishing-Hall.
Okay.
It's a program that I asked about because people in my county, as poor as we are, can't even get no help on this program. And me and you looked at it just a couple of months ago, I'd say 3 or 4, and when we looked at it, there were some huge amounts coming out. And we knew it wasn't on the program because the guidelines were so low. And we looked at the vendors and the things, and it ended up it's the same program that we're pulling weatherization out of, and like the emergency flood ice.
Minor emergency repair.
We're pulling it out of another program because we couldn't understand how they was utilizing it so much. I may be wrong.
We've got a few of these minor emergency type programs out there, and one of them is to do with water lines, and one of them is to do with minor emergency, and the other one's accessibility.
Do you remember what I'm talking about, Doug?
Yeah,
There was some
vaguely.
invoices for like $50,000 at a whack, and we was trying to figure out why. Remember? And we found out they was going to
Vaguely.
one place, one vendor, and we couldn't understand why.
Okay, or is there anyone requesting any action on this mod as such?
I'd request that we raise the income guidelines for the $1,000 self-help program.
Okay. To make that in form of a motion, the motion's been seconded that we raise the income guidelines. Is there any discussion?
Specific number?
So all in,
Chief Ranger.
yes. You have a comment?
I was just, I think we're looking at, we've got several programs out here that we're doing self-help, we're doing minor emergency.
It's a self-help.
Okay. Because we've got the $1,000 minor emergency repair, which was being administered through Housing Authority. That was $200,000 a year. They've spent about half of that. I guess I would just like to have the program personnel here to speak to these programs rather than having council say we're going to change the income guidelines without having the people who are administering these programs have an opportunity to address these concerns.
Okay. Mr. Craddock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kelly, I just had a person stop by the house yesterday with an application for one of those material-only situations. And that's one of the programs that they'd like for the people to contact them and go to their office to actually fill out the applications. And part of the reason for that is the income limit that Bill John was talking about is so low that if you hand them out an application and they go and fill it out, thinking, well, I've got this application and, I'm going to qualify for this $1,000 of material only, if they're making, I believe that 2 for 2 is $16,000. Well, that's not much income, and so they get disappointed and frustrated because they can't get any help. So, and like I said, I just talked to them yesterday, so
Yeah.
we're pretty well on track, I think. with
Ms.
this.
Fishing, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Ms. Fishing.
I remember when we figured it, how much they had to be, if you had a man and a woman working in your house, combined income, they had to make less than $10 an hour, which is below minimum. 2 people are working. That's how low it, recheck our figures, but I swear to goodness, that's what it was when we looked at it.
Is there any other discussion on Mr. Baker's motion to increase the
Income guidelines.
income guidelines? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
As far as this mod package goes,
Yes.
the main thing I wanted to point out was two things. The cash match being shifted over to the tribal discretionary pool and the over expenditure of the housing accessibility program. Okay, the rest of it, don't have any problem with. I just want to point those out. One good thing, they're spending the money, I mean, different than other programs, they're spending it faster than we're appropriating it. But obviously, there's a need there.
Is this correct then? We have $150,000 that's unappropriated? If we do this today, there'll be $150,000 just kind of out there?
Mazda.
Okay.
Mazda.
Well, I assume they're going to come back and next month it'll be placed over in a worthy program.
There should be, this should have yield a $150,000 housing freed
Would
up.
you be so kind as to track that for us?
Certainly.
Okay.
Now, this mod has a few things that have already been added to it, right?
Okay. Only one, I believe, at this point, but there may be,
Just, okay,
which was the...
the youth council at this point? Okay.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Fisher.
Can you explain to me one more time why the cash match is coming out of gen fund and not like it previously was? I'm confused on that one. Number 2.
Number 2 is a budget that it was created specifically to provide cash matches for grants. The IHP was previously funding a cash match on the housing accessibility one.
No.
Is it? It's on this program.
No. IHP was funding cash match for a USDA grant. After looking at how the grant operated and the restrictions on the HOSDA, we felt that it would be better to request general fund dollars out of our match pool, which we set up at the beginning of the fiscal year when we did the budget, so that the USDA grant could be implemented using USDA guidelines rather than you've got HUD guidelines, you've got these guidelines, and let them go out and implement this grant. It frees up the IHP dollars, and yes, those would be coming back to this council in the form of a budget request.
Well, there is another meeting at 6 that a lot of people want to be at. Time's getting short. I would entertain a motion to approve Mod 9, and then if I have that motion and get a second, then we have 2 other items to consider as part of that mod. But first I need a motion to approve the mod as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Now we have 2 other items to consider. And one, we had a letter of introduction for Bailey Davis, who's the Oklahoma junior teen, who's been waiting quite some time, I believe, to be introduced. Ms. Davis. And congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Bailey Davis, your Miss Oklahoma Junior Teen. In November, I'll go to California to represent the whole state of Oklahoma at the national pageant. So I'm selling business ads. And each sheet of ads that I sell, it'll pay for something else while I'm in California. And the prices go up the bigger of ad that you want.
Okay. Mr. Baker.
How much is a page?
A page is $600.
Page is $600. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'd like to ask that we recommend that our Speaker of the House buy a full-page ad from the Council of the Cherokee Nation out of our council budget.
I'd
Okay.
gladly do that.
Okay.
Would you want to say something about this young lady?
Well, I'd like to say she's from Delaware County, Jay.
If she agrees to
She's
do
very
it.
pretty.
Okay.
If you need more money, we holler.
Okay, but since the speaker's going to buy a full-page ad from the council for the 600.
Thank you.
Julie.
Coming and waiting.
And good luck in California. And thanks for waiting, yes. Okay, next, Dr. Cobb, you had something.
This is a budget request form. It's specifically deals with the Delaware Tribe of Indians in Bartlesville headquarters. I would like to thank Councilor Hoskin and Callan Watts and Councilor Anglin for being co-sponsors on this. Essentially what this is aid to tribal government money from the BI office in Muskogee, and I think I'm going to have the Secretary of State give you just a real quick rundown on what this is. This does not come out of any of our programs, which is an important point. So, bottom line is the Delaware Tribe of Indians does not have federal recognition at this point, and we've been working on that. And this is what.
Excuse me. Now, is this actually be part of the budget mod? Is there?
Yeah, it's part of it.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
what-
excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
This represents one program that the nation and Delaware Tribe have been working on for a while, and it represents an amount that they used to receive for their Aid to Tribal Government program, and that provides some core governmental services for them to pay the chief, do enrollment kinds of functions, and basically keep their core government office open. And we had negotiated to pass through this amount from BIA to the Delaware Tribe upon federal recognition. They contacted us, and because of the delays in getting the federal legislation passed, they really are in dire need of being able to keep the lights on, frankly, and keep things going, and so wanted to see if we could do this earlier. So what we did was, we're working on a standalone and have signed a standalone MOU that's contingent upon appropriations, of course, that would pass through this amount, which has not been budgeted, that we received after they were no longer federally recognized. And so this would pass this back through to the Delaware Tribe.
And the amount? Move for approval.
The amount is, total is $277,867.
Okay. So the motion's been made and seconded that we add that to our budget mod. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on the budget mod as amended?
Just for clarification, we have the $277,869, and what was the amount of the youth council's request?
It was an addition up to.
I know you took it up to $50 a day, which is right at the per diem for the state of Montana.
So but it's an additional $15.40.
Right at 65.
Yeah, $15.40 added on to
$65.20, I believe. Okay. So, any further discussion on the budget mod as amended?
Right.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Our next meeting is scheduled for July 31st at 3.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
6 o'clock at the restaurant, behind the restaurant is the